Seattle has been pushed. All I gotta say is Portland can say cheese.
He's a tough kid.
Scuttlebutt.
It's Scuttlebutt time. Sounders. So we played Toronto last Wednesday, which is almost exactly a week ago. And then we played Portland.
Yes.
And now we're here.
Yes. So last time we spoke, we were talking about the rocky start and how Toronto, how they performed in the tournament at the beginning of the season.
Champions League, yeah.
Yes. But also how they had won the previous season. And
against us.
You weren't necessarily, sure how this match was going to go. So what ended up happening?
Well, I was actually I was going to be happy with a draw. Whether it be 0-0 or 1-1 or 2-2 or 3-3 or 4-4. Actually, if it was 3-3 or 4-4, I would be ecstatic for a draw based on our lack of scoring prowess.
What's the highest scoring draw you've ever witnessed?
In person?
Whatever.
Well, 4-4 was really fun in Portland a couple of years back.
That sounds like an emotional roller coaster.
It was. It was because Clint Dempsey had a hat trick.
Oh, sweet.
So they hate him. But anyway, I was like okay with a road draw. I was really happy with it. So when we get there without Clint Dempsey, without Nicolas Ladera, without Victor Rodriguez, who hasn't played all year.
So where are all those players currently? Why are they not making the trip?
Broken toe, pretty much.
For Clint?
No, Clint Dempsey didn't make the trip because we played the weekend prior against Columbus,
so
which was a shit show.
Is he still traveling all around and not? He's still doing all his other team stuff, or
the U.S. men's national team? No.
So he just
we didn't make the World Cup.
Yeah, I did know that. So is he just not traveling with the team?
No, it's just congested schedule, and you can only have an 8 in your 18 or less, and that's 7 bench players. And I think with the Portland game coming up, the congested schedule, and honestly, I think Clint should have traveled. Whatever, Brian Schmetzer, but it didn't seem to really piss Clint off. I mean, he is 35, so, and we did a new formation, which we're not used to, start with 5 in the back instead of 4, which is fairly standard, and then we have just our different midfield.
Can you explain that real quick? So is it like a 4-3 defense where you just do different positions?
More or less, yeah. Okay. Think zone. That's soccer is zone defense.
Okay.
You don't man up.
Right.
You can't.
Yeah,
otherwise people are just all over the place.
Yeah.
So you standard
some epic broken ankles though. If there
yes, there would. So the basic standard formation is 4-4-2.
Okay.
4 on the back line, 4 in the midfield, just straight across from sideline to sideline, and 2 up front, side by side.
Yeah.
Not side by side like holding hands.
Yeah.
But side by side by 10 yards.
So I played lacrosse. Can the defensive players take it out, and then you have to have one of the midfielders stay behind?
It is all game. Obviously, it probably might not work for your system and almost every system, but you could have a center back dribble all over the field and be really good scorer.
One midfielder have to stay behind the line?
No.
So why, if let's say, in hockey, when you're losing, you can take out the goalie? So can you?
Yeah.
So if the...
Yeah, you could take out the goalie in soccer.
Really?
Yeah. You'd sub him off. I mean, he's wearing mitts and shit like that, but there's been times where there's no backup keeper and a keeper's been red carded or hurt, and a field player puts on the mitts and just stands there.
Oh yeah.
And if they have a backup like jersey, or whatever, but anyway, yeah.
So you switched up the
every
formation.
player can play wherever the hell they want.
Right.
It's the system, the formation that you have that is the manager, the coach's discretion, what his idea of what he wants to happen on the field.
Right.
That is what the players have to adapt to and play as, so they know where the other player is, and this is where I'm supposed to be. So we have never been a 5-man back line. I don't remember other than maybe a mid-game something. I could probably say we've never had a 5-man back line, but that gives your fullbacks more potential to actually play in the midfield a little bit more, and you have 3 men just stay back to be like, we are the wall of defense.
Yeah.
We normally have like 2, and then these guys kind of switch. The right back's going forward a lot, the left back doesn't. And if the left back goes forward a lot, the right back doesn't, just to keep it kind of balanced a little bit. When you have 3 back there, they can kind of fly on either side, which really helps the midfield because now you're down a guy in the midfield because you put him on defense.
Right.
So it's a different dynamic, and we actually played really, really well against them. They didn't have Josie Altidore, but we didn't have Clint Dempsey. They had Giovinco, and we didn't have Ladero. So we were the undermanned team away against a team we lost to in the MLS Cup Finals, and they're also near the bottom of the table too. So it's just kind of like, where are these teams at? This is a good match. And sure enough, we fucking beat their ass.
What was the score?
2-1. But I mean, check ScuttleButt Twitter.
Yeah.
I spent a good amount of time giggling and making a gif.
Yeah.
About Wolf, who I love, Magnus Wolf Ikram.
That his name?
Look his face up. We did face lookups in the last episode. Wait till you see his face. You do not want to fuck with this man. Because it looks like he's headbutted everyone he's ever met. Ever. Since the moment he came out of the womb.
Yeah, he does.
It's literally a flat nose.
Yeah, he looks like he's
protrusion.
permanently eating a lemon and smelling a diaper. Yeah.
Yeah. But he's very technical. He looks like he'd be a brute. He's so not. He's got really just kind of a gazelle-like stride. Yeah. But really quick touch. And he nutmegged Michael Bradley. And then I forget who the next player is, but immediately after he did Michael Bradley, who is the captain of the men's national team. Yeah. And he was playing center back, defensive player. He's predominantly always been a center defensive mid, kind of just I hold the midfield. He nutmegged him, nutmegged the next player within the next touch. Like nut.
Nice. That's
nut to the nuts. And then one extra touch and then a perfect pass to Will Bruin for the score. So which I was begging, and I knew of this man. And his last performance was not up there. People were like, meh, let's put our 18-year-old out there some more. I'm like, no, the kid's good, but he's not a national team player for Norway that we paid and invested money in. Brian Schmetzer's not all about investing. It's all about, like, compete, like Pete Carroll. Yeah. I agree with that, too. But this guy's only had one start, and you're judging him off of that. And then he's been subbed on for the last 10 to 20 minutes of every other game before that. Go fuck that noise, because I watched preseason, and him and Clint Dempsey danced around an 18 box for about 5 minutes before someone scored. Nice. And I think it was Ikram. So anyway, I'm really happy to see him get an assist. Will Bruin scored. It was like, our juice is back. It was Wednesday. We're coming home, PNW. It's a bus ride down to Portland, a few hours. Right. So we're coming home, and we're playing Portland, our fucking arch rivals, said Brian Schmetzer in the locker room. Like, enjoy this. Pointed at
he said in the locker room after Toronto.
Yeah. Enjoy this. But we got another game coming up in just a few days. And he pointed at Gustav Svensson, and said, "You can have one beer." Which I guess it must be like he likes beer. But anyway, he's sitting there with his legs crossed, just looking very like, huh? And Brian Schmetzer like, "You can have one beer." Anyway, so cool. And then we go to Portland.
And
we lost.
That's not what you were meant to do.
Yeah, not at all. 100th meeting against Portland.
Wow. In MLS.
In history.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, no, this dates back to 1974.
Right.
They came out in this world in 1975.
Are you saying you were born in 1974?
Yes.
Sounders. And now we're dead.
Yes. I'm proud of you.
I know the word because I had to listen to it on the blocks until I got to the stadium. Anyway.
Did I share with you the screenshot on ESPN at so we mentioned this before. My bachelor party last year was June 24th, 5th, 15th against Portland in Portland, and all my guys took me to Providence Park.
Right.
And we went, and pretty much all of my bachelor party crew doesn't give a shit about soccer.
Yeah.
They one across from me. But Tor, who you might know if you're just listening to the Scuttlebutt segment from our other 32 episodes, He was there, and so we're loving the Sounders. Yay! But Ian's sitting there, and ESPN is just on the section. We're sitting with ECS, and God bless all you guys for buying ECS memberships. Thank you for not renewing them and never going to a game again, because that's not what it's for. But I appreciate you all doing it so we could sit together in ECS section. Ian's sitting there looking up towards 11 o'clock, pretty much, just like up towards the stars in the middle of the game.
I'm like
wearing shorts and like army boots because you have bad ankles.
Yeah, I did.
But wearing shorty shorts-ish, not meant to be, just the way you're sitting, they look like it. And your hand is straight on your dick.
Yep.
And ESPN didn't like catch it, but I caught it because I knew it was funny. I'm going to find that and put it on Twitter. That's
yeah.
What? It's not like your dick's
no,
out.
No. I was just thinking about how you can find it because other Aaron has it. He posted it.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Other Aaron. There are more than me. So anyway, we lost to Portland. It was not a match that we got really beaten, and we didn't really lose. It was just a goal happened, and that happens in soccer.
Right.
It was hot, and they didn't have a game midweek. We still didn't have Ladero. We didn't have a couple of Roman Torres, our stalwart big. I call him Big Pelo.
Uh-huh.
He's got the crazy hair, Uncle Bob, or Sideshow Bob kind of hair.
Oh, I've seen that. Okay.
Yeah, and he's a massive man. And FIFA rating, he's like one of the highest rating for strength of a center back of a player in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not, physically probably true. Who knows? But he's a beast. So that's pretty shitty. So yay, Toronto and Portland.
Yeah.
But we still have the overall. We still have 51 or 50 wins on them.
Right.
That's
awesome.
of 100.
That's nice. So what's next? Like what's the next game? What do you think about
in 2 weeks, actually.
Oh, wow.
So we got a break here.
Wait a minute. Question. How does soccer...
International breaks.
Oh, I see.
And MLS is a weird league, so it's kind of hard to tell you...
2 games in a week and then 2 weeks off?
More or less, they try to congest it a little bit. That would have been our next week game. Toronto would have been this last weekend, and Portland would have... If it was going to be weekly, that's how it happens. But there is an international schedule because a lot of players play for international teams.
Right.
National teams.
Right.
So if you take away your best players, how is that fair for the league? So the leagues around the world adjust their schedules based on that. MLS, on the other hand, because there hasn't been national team stars from other countries up until the last probably decade, and really the last 5 or 6 years, they haven't really abided by that. And now more recently, the clubs are allowed to, here's the international schedule. And clubs are kind of allowed to... I want to play or not, but both clubs of that schedule, sorry microphone, both clubs of that game, say on June 20th, need to agree to have it rescheduled. Okay. So a team like DC United, who doesn't have anyone that's really good other than Paul Areola, who is a U.S. men's national team player, who was signed just last summer, he's their only real reason they would maybe, hey, international break, he's not going to be on the team because he's going to be with the U.S. We don't want to play. Does other team agree with that? Okay, then we can reschedule that. And that's how it works right now. It's pretty junky. But,
well, it's the world's game, so...
It really is. It really is the world's game, and we bring the rest of the world here, and they're not all just from the Caribbean or Mexico playing, baseball.
Right.
Yeah. You have people from David Villa from Spain, and even though he's not playing national team now.
This comment is... based on what you're saying, was also a good segue into what we were going to talk about. It's cool that it is the world's game and more names and people from different leagues are coming here. It's cool for MLS to be getting that traction. And
they pretty much started with Beckham.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And Thierry Henry. And
for how many years when Beckham came to MLS was he a good player?
He was good every year he played.
Oh, really? He retired on top?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
He retired on a championship, I believe, in 2000.
With Landon Donovan, did he
Landon
start
Donovan.
out? Was he primarily MLS or did he play Premier League?
Landon Donovan played both, but he was 100% MLS.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, he didn't start with the Galaxy, if I remember correctly, but he pretty much made that his home.
Who's the best MLS player of all time?
And then he played for Everton. MLS player of all time. Well, that'd be tough. It'd probably be Landon Donovan.
Yeah,
honestly,
because he recently retired, right?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, then kind of unretired, and then he's back to
He's back?
He trained. No, he's not back, but he trained with Sporting Lisbon or something. One of those teams, Sporting CP or something. He trained with something. Maybe it was Mexico, but it wasn't real. It wasn't really real.
Where's he
he's
from?
He's the best. Landon, Cali.
Yeah. Oh, he's American.
Oh yeah, Landon Donovan. Yeah, he's American. That's why he stayed MLS and men's national team.
Very cool.
Then I would say Dwayne De Rosario. Maybe just longevity. He was a DC United guy. He played a couple other teams, but it's definitely I would say Landon. I don't know why I even said it was tough for MLS all time. Yeah.
Well, speaking of big names and DC United,
yeah,
there's a big name
and Everton. Oddly enough, because Landon played a little bit for them,
and England.
England.
You'll never know what that's about.
Mushrooms. Ian and I did them once.
Well, more than once. But anyway.
At least once we did mushrooms and talked about England.
At least once I put mushrooms on my pizza.
And smoked all our cigarettes twice.
Yeah. And ate the butts.
In about 8 minutes.
Yeah. So.
Anyway.
Aaron, big name came to the MLS. I don't know if you want to talk about it.
It's not official.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No.
But I did a good thing.
It's
so, previous episode of Scuttlebutt, I turned on a soccer game. And stared at it.
And then turned it off.
I did. Made it until I learned about the defensive third.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that. And there's a blue team. There's at least one blue team and at least one red team.
There is.
But now I actually even created a talking point. And this is that talking point. So, Wayne Rooney, the guy who looks like if you took Jason Statham and
turned him into a Lego man.
Threw him in a beehive. You got Wayne Rooney.
He's like a blushing Lego man that was modeled after Jason Statham.
He's like English Soccer Hooligan Volume 1. He's like the first one. And he looks like just a British guy who would wear a striped polo and beat the shit out of you.
There's a man named Vince, but you'll see he's actually in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. He was the brute.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I think his name is Vince. But that's the hooligan guy.
Great movie, actually, is Green Street
Hooligan.
Such a good movie.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Elijah Wood's not his crowning achievement, but
Flipper was his crowning achievement.
Is he in Flipper?
Yeah.
I thought Flipper was in the 50s.
It was a TV show in the 50s.
I know. Oh wait.
There's a normal movie mid early 90s Flipper.
Is it canon?
Yes, Flipper's super old.
It's a continuing
90-year-old Flipper.
As I push my glasses. Okay. So what do you want to talk? What do you think about Wayne Rooney?
The potential of Wayne Rooney to DC United, aka MLS.
Let's talk about it from an MLS perspective.
Well, MLS perspective because they'd have to sign him because it's a single entity league. We don't have to talk about that.
Communism.
Pretty much. But I'm okay with it. I mean, I'd be happy for it.
It semes like it's good big names, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm
he's still a Premier League player.
Yeah.
He's fresh. He's Man U just 2 years ago. He's 32. He's taken a dip in his production, but that's not abnormal.
How old was David Beckham when he retired from MLS?
Probably 35, 36.
Okay. Anyway, I was just curious.
Plus or minus a couple of years. Late, but not 40, not 35.
But older than Wayne Rooney.
Yeah. And Wayne Rooney, I think, he had some injuries too. With Man U and a little bit with Everton, but he's playing all right for Everton. He's just not who he was 5-10 years ago, or even when he was 18. But he is the all-time leading scorer for the English national team. The all-time leading scorer for the Spanish national team is David Villa, who's 36 years old and killing it,
and just staying in the Premier League.
David Villa's with NYCFC.
Oh, right. I knew that. Okay.
Yeah, so it's you can't say a guy's 32 and he's washed up.
No, of course not.
What have you done for me lately?
Injury history is a little bit of a...
Yeah. Well, that's the chair, not my butthole.
It was actually my butthole.
So, MLS is a more physical league, for sure. So, that's a thing. But Premier League is not a pansy league. That is the Premier League for a reason. So, they're pretty rough, too. But they also have that other dynamic of we're all very skillful too, right. So you can avoid some of those tackles. But the talent level has increased the last 5 years tenfold. Probably, let's go with exponentially, actually. Since Beckham, really. That was the Beckham rule turned into DP, turned into just having one DP. Now teams have 3. And now the targeted allocation money, general allocation money, weird accounting words and ways to make rosters better.
I made a joke
within a single entity.
I made a joke about the communism thing, but the more I'm thinking about that with the DP rule and having 3 players, that could work for parity in other leagues.
Well, the parity in MLS is fantastic.
Yeah.
It really is. They have Toronto be bullshit
champion
4 years ago, sign Josie
year.
Altidore, Giovinco, and Altidore,
and not being that good this year.
And they're still good.
Well, yeah, but
they're still
not,
good.
But they're struggling.
And they're going to be in the playoffs. Yeah, I still have faith that we're going to be in the playoffs and Toronto.
The MLS playoffs, is it like the NBA where half the teams make it, or what's the
pretty
MLS?
much?
Yeah.
I mean, 3 years ago, half the team didn't exist, or half the league didn't exist. It seems like.
So is it a bracket tournament, East and West?
Yeah,
okay.
It's full. It's a.
How many seeds are there?
It's a dumbed down. I would say NFL. It's kind of like NFL.
Okay,
It's got,
so
you divide
you get
it divide it in
buys?
half. Yeah, there's a bye. There is a wild card, like play-in round, one off, and then it's home and away, home and away.
Oh,
final.
cool.
So
I
one
love
off,
that.
home and
I
away,
think
home
that's
and
great.
away, final.
I love how they added that to baseball a couple years ago. The 1-game playoff.
Yeah,
I think that's great.
it's exciting.
Super exciting.
Yeah. So we have that, and I think that is pretty much, that's probably what we're aiming for. But Wayne Rooney, DC United. And so I'm excited. I want Wayne Rooney in the league. Yes, he's 32. Okay, cool. I'm almost 32. He brings money to the league for sure. He brings eyes to the league from across the pond and more eyes here.
You said that DC is not that great of a team right now. Would he be the best player on that team?
I think he'll walk in there and be respected as the best player on the team. Paul Areola is a U.S. men's national team player that does start pretty regularly, and he's a winger, which is a offensive midfielder kind of on the side.
I thought he was just a guy who winged it.
Yeah, and he's got big areolas.
Does he really?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe he scored a goal one time.
I'm swimming with him on Thursday.
I've seen men take their shirts off when they get goals.
I have big areolas. We all know that. I have big Paul areolas.
It's just truth time here at the TBD podcast.
We're getting down to the nitty gritty.
Sometimes.
Okay. I'm going to pinch my nips, make them a little harder.
I was thinking about
self-conscious by myself. Anyway.
So
Paul Areola is probably their overall best player.
All in all, good for the
league.
Yeah.
For DC United, who's completing their new stadium because they've been playing in pretty much a graveyard, RFK.
It goes back to my thing. It'd be cool if you actually did play in a graveyard.
Okay.
Just special stadiums.
But here's the thing.
Outdoors.
And Taylor Twellman is shouting this. He's, for, you don't know who that is, probably?
No.
Okay. Former men's national team player, MLS player, and also ESPN
I
analyst
do know
and
he's
commentator.
like a redhead or a blonde or something like that.
You're thinking of Alexi Alalis when he said redhead, and you're probably thinking of Twellman when he said blonde.
Okay.
He looks like a Cali guy. Like 5'9".
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I agree with him 100%, is that this is fantastic for the league and DC United if they treat him like who he is, a designated player, and then you continue building your team. You don't just say we signed a player to bring butts to the seats of our new stadium, and in a year and a half, everything, because you still suck, people start not going to the games. Because, oh, cool, I saw Wayne Rooney, and the team still fucking sucks. So I'm not going to buy a jersey. I'm going to go say I saw Wayne Rooney and go home.
Right.
I'll watch the rest on ESPN.
Right. No,
And then he retires or moves on
Yeah.
in 2 years.
Gets a fat check.
Yeah, so DC United, who has a track record other than Paul Areola last summer, August 2nd, 2017, of just not spending any fucking money on anybody. Nobody.
Why?
And they're an original... I don't know. Why do businesses fail? People suck in their front office. And it's not even their front office. It's their full-on organization.
Right.
And they're an OG club.
Right.
1996. So they need... If they're taking this as a leap of we're going in this brand new direction, revitalized DC United. I mean, they got Atlanta United, you have Orlando, you have LAFC. But right now, DC United has done nothing for over a decade. since Dwayne D. Rosario, honestly, and this could be their step in the right direction.
Right.
Or they're just putting their foot in their mouth.
Well,
and they make a quick buck for a
know.
calendar year.
Yeah, but, it's kind of like
about
rising
$12
tide thing, raises all ships. So hopefully, with them trying to better themselves, it will create, more drama. And it'd be really cool to have...
Rising tides beaches whales, too.
No, shrinking tides beach whales.
Well, they come up with the tide, and then the tide goes away, so then they get beached.
Well,
so you're kind of right, but if the tide wasn't...
Hitler's great-great-great-great-grandfather killed all the Jews. Technically... Because, high tide, then low tide, and then the low tide before that high tide, and chain of responsibility.
Oh, okay. I was like, Hitler's great-great-great-grandfather? Was he amongst Jerusalem? Like, I don't like any of these folks. I'm going to write a letter, and I'm going to put it under our floor, and our
give it to my son.
Great-great-great-great-grandson's going to find it and make some changes.
Hitler jokes.
Yeah.
Best way to end a soccer segment.
Oh, my God.
All right, so...
Actually, pretty shitty when you think about what's happening right now in the world, but...
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Oh, man. That's why you don't pay us. All right. Scuttlebutt out.
Nerdverse in.
Never give up, never surrender.
I've seen men take their shirts off when they get goals.
I have big areolas.